Welcome back to your Game of Thrones recaps. Today is Season 4, Episode 4, Oathkeeper. Let's get right to it. We start in Meereen this week, where Grey Worm is getting some intimate lessons in English from Missandei. Now, Grey Worm knows exactly what show he's on and where this is headed, and gets very, very sad because he's a eunuch and, ask your parents. Things then go from bad to worse for Grey Worm as he's to lead an invasion of Meereen through the city's sewers. Dressed as a Meereenese slave for some reason, Team Daenerys meets a group of real Meereenese slaves, and they all have a long discussion in Valyrian. Grey Worm gives weapons to the slaves, who then run past some graffiti, which is in English, for some reason, and kill their masters, which frees all the slaves. And Dany gets to finally recreate the ending to Temple of Doom like she's wanted for so many years. Dany is then reminded of the terrible crime of the children nailed to the signposts, and orders the same thing be done to the remaining masters, learning an important lesson in being a political leader: hypocrisy. Meanwhile, on the SS Littlefinger, Lord Baelish tells Sansa that they're going to the Vale so that he can marry her Aunt Lysa and officially become her creepy uncle, a title that he has held in name only up to this point. Now Sansa, she tries to puzzle out who could have killed Joffrey, but the show gets tired of waiting and just tells us, Lady Olenna, if you had her in your Joffrey murder pool, step forward and claim your prize. She tells Marjorie that she would have never allowed her to be married to a giant douche like Joffrey, and instead is brokering a deal for her to marry a 10-year-old. Then, on a very special Game of Thrones sex tips from your grandma, Olenna tells Marjorie the secret to keeping a husband is to sex him up good. So Marjorie heads straight to Tommen's room, and Tommen gets to touch a pussy. The cat. Sir Pounce! Oh, how adorable. Elsewhere in King's Landing, Jaime finally gets around to visiting Tyrion in jail. He's just been really busy lately with his sword lessons and sex with their sister and trying to think of something to write in his Lord Commander book. Convinced that Tyrion didn't kill his nephew's son, Jaime then goes and tries to talk some sense into Cersei, but she's done taking it from him and orders him to leave the city and find Sansa. But since Jaime just finished unpacking his stuff and he has the cable guy coming on Monday, he delegates this task to Brienne, who then upgrades her sword and armor. But Jaime has one more surprise.
Paul, baby.
Has joined her quest. Jaime gains some much-needed sympathy points and levels up, while Brienne and Pod head off to fight wyverns and rescue the princess or something, I don't know. At Castle Black, the boy whose family was just eaten last week grins like an idiot as he watches Jon teach the Night's Watch how to fight wildlings. Sir Alliser, not one to miss an opportunity to scowl, tells Jon to get back to work cleaning the toilets, but after conferring with his second-in-douche command, Jaina Slint, Sir Alliser decides that maybe sending Jon off to die at Craster's isn't a bad idea after all, as Jon could easily take the popular vote in most of the Night's Watch electorate in the next election for President of the Wall. Jon seeks team members for this expedition and gets 3 volunteers: Gren, who offers his bow, Ed, who offers his axe, and Locke, who offers his secret plan to kill Jon and all the other Starks for Roose Bolton. Or, you know, his sword. Whichever he'd prefer. We're also treated to some brand new, completely made-up stuff, as we get to see what happened in Craster's Keep after the murderous massacre last season. The answer? Kind of the same thing as before, except instead of Craster, it's some guy named Carl. Now, one of Craster's daughter wives enters and shows him a baby, the last of Craster's children. Despite all the women telling him to go outside and give the child to the gods, Carl decides he's finally going to stay in the house, and tells Rast to go put the baby outside with the rest of them. As he does, we meet up with Bran and company, who have lost their copy of A Storm of Swords and have no idea where to go next. Now just then, they hear a baby crying, and Bran wargs into Summer to see what's making all the noise. But it's not just a baby, Ghost is also there, locked up in a cage. So Summer tries to help him, but falls into a makeshift animal trap. Bran tells Hodor and the Reeds that they have to go rescue the direwolves, but they get caught in a makeshift human trap. And Carl quickly realizes that his new captives are not the wildlings they claim to be, as Bran is wearing his J. Crew leather tunic, and that they could be worth something someday if they were kept in their original packaging. Finally, we get a glimpse of something no one has ever seen before. Now, just as Craster's angels offered up the baby to their god, a White Walker, he, in turn, goes far north to the Fortress of Solitude to offer up a baby to his god, Kal-El. Everybody's got a boss. Then, in a deleted scene from Thor 1, the Frost Giant turns the human child into Loki, because that makes just as much sense. Tommen is crowned king and gets ready to marry Marjorie, not realizing at all what happened to her past two husbands. Now Jon swings his sword and yells in the snow and then goes on a quest. And Dany asks Sir Barristan if she can take King's Landing. And also, where is King's Landing? And also, what is King's Landing? And do they have a Chick-fil-A there? And there you have it, your episode recap for Oathkeeper. Make sure you tune in next week for our episode 5 recap. And if you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe below so you can get recaps all season long. See you next week.